Good evening, everyone, and thank you for participating to this conference and this events, online events. And my name is Nora, and I will be your host for this conference. And I'm really honored to be able to speak and attend to this event and to maybe to present who I am. I am a human rights activist and very active in freedom of expression and freedom of belief. In the Raelian movement, I am in charge of interfaith dialogue with the Raelian movement and religious minorities. And in this situation of conflict in Gaza and Israel, the Raelian movement come with a solution that will be debated here. And the peace solution for Gaza is to build an embassy for our space creators. This conference in itself will last about 1 hour and a half. And first part will be a debate with our main speakers. And the second part will be a question and answer. So the chat will be open and you will be able to ask all the questions that you will want about this debate. Of course, please just say to which person you want to address the question. What should I say? So the chat will be open after that. So maybe let me introduce our two main speakers, Leon Mellul and Kobi Drori. So Leon Mellul was born in Morocco into a traditional Jewish family, and early on he began questioning the meaning of Elohim in the Torah. After a lifelong search for truth, in 1987, he discovered Intelligent Design, a book that revealed the Elohim as an advanced extraterrestrial civilization, mistakenly seen as gods by ancient humans. This discovery led Leon to join the Raelian movement, and he quickly became a key figure, appointed spokesperson to Jewish and Muslim communities, and began giving lectures worldwide. In 1993, he made history by proclaiming Rael as the Messiah at the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem, while presenting the Elohim's request to build the third temple near the city. In 1998, Leon and his wife moved to Israel, where they spent 18 years building the Raelian presence and sharing the Elohim's message. Today, as Raelian chief rabbi, Leon continues to inspire with a vision that connects ancient heritage to humanity's cosmic future. Kobi Drori was born in 1953. He is a graduate of the Behavioral Science Division at Ben-Gurion University and the Business Administration Division at Tel Aviv University. He has spent decades exploring religious and mythology and global power structures, driven by a desire to uncover common ancient truth, the secrets of our existence. By analyzing recent scientific research alongside spiritual teaching, he has developed a compelling vision of humanity near future, which he shared through a series of articles and lectures presented in schools, organizations, and various public forums. Since joining the Raelian movement in 1999, Kobi has served as a guide and spokesperson in Israel. He lives by the Raelian philosophy of happiness and peace. His goal is to spread this message throughout Israel with the hope that it will help transform perceptions, encouraging people to see their neighbors as brothers, not enemies, and ultimately help build a peaceful future through what he calls paradism. So what contribution can Rael's teaching made to Rael in the world and to peace in Israel, Palestine? Maybe I could ask this first question to you, Léon Mellul.
Hello, dear Nora. Thank you. What was your question again, please?
So what contribution can Rael's teaching make to peace in the world and to peace in Israel, Palestine?
Well, a big difference. Since the last 50 years, Rael have been teaching love about a message from our creators, which is the only solution for the two, not for the one state solution for the two children of Abraham, who are the Jews and the Muslims. Unfortunately, on both sides, there are killers, there are politicians, there are criminals, and there are nice people. And we shouldn't mix before being Israeli, before being Palestinian, before being Jewish, Muslim, or any religion, even before being Raelian. We are all humans, and we know we are all one. And this is what we should always keep in mind. And think about peace, think about love, and this will be the only solution to save our planet. Otherwise, we're going straight to the wall.
Thank you. And Kobi, maybe we could, as you are based in Israel, it could be interesting that you have your points of view about the history, what made us to this, what made Israel and Palestine to this situation. Maybe if you have like a point of view about the history.
It's okay.
First, Rael is a prophet. He sees very, very far, much far than anyone else on earth. That's why even if he show us a way that even personally, it's unbelievable that we can achieve, I know that this is the way. And that's how I will teach the other people around me. Because my English is not so well, I wrote a very, very short notes, and I will about the essence of the Israeli-Palestine conflict. On November 29, 1947, the United Nations approved the partition plan and the establishment of two Arab and Israeli states. The Jews took the streets dancing in joy, despite the tiny state they were given. The Arabs launched murderous terrorist attacks. On May 48, David Ben-Gurion declared the establishment of the State of Israel. On that day, 7 Arab states invade the State of Israel from all directions, along with soldiers from Iraq, Morocco, and more. The war ended with Israeli victory. Estimates that there are between 7,100 and 750,000 refugees. Some of the Arabs left their homes before the war, some fled during the fighting, and in some places, Arab residents were forcibly expelled from their community. On the other hand, following the war independence in 1948, nearly 850,000 Jews were expelled or fled from their homes in Arab countries and immigrates to Israel, forced to leave most of their possessions behind. Before the establishment of the State of Israel, no Palestine was expelled from its land. Small numbers of Jews have always lived in Israel, for example, in Sfat or Jerusalem. In the 19th century, Jews began to return to Palestine. They bought land from Arabs for a lot of money. In many cases, the Arabs were happy to sell the Jews swampland with malaria and cholera. The Jews drained the swamps and established flourishing settlements, which led to jealousy, terrorism, robberies, and murders. The UN brought General Assembly Resolution 194 after the war to vote on December 48. Paragraph 11 of this resolution states that refugees wishing to return to their home and live at peace with their neighbors should be permitted to do so at the earliest practical date. It's important to note that 6 of the countries that voted against were the Arab countries, not Israel. Palestinian representatives also rejected Resolution 194, the right to return to their home, because it had to contain recognition of the state of Israel. In 1949, the state of Israel offered to release frozen bank accounts and allow approximately 100,000 members of the Palestinian family separated during the war to return to their country. Arab countries rejected this compromise. I'm finishing. Since 1948, Israel and the Arab states and the Palestinians have experienced many wars and horrific acts of terrorism. For Israel, any ceasefire agreement between Israel and the Palestinians was a basis for peace. In the eyes of the Palestinians, until now, it was just time to recover and establish a larger army to try once again to destroy Israel. This plan never left their mind. The destruction of Israel and the establishment of Palestinian state from the Jordan to the sea as springboard to defeated the European infidels and on the way to creating an Islamic world where Islamic Sharia law will be valid throughout Europe. Israel right now, perhaps some of you don't see it, but it is the last frontier before terrorism take hold in Europe. Terrorism that you already feel in large part in Europe.
Thank you, Kobi. Leon, would you like to comment on this historical point of view?
Sure. Well, not necessarily on all the historical point of view. I have been living in Israel for 18 years, and no, even the Muslim Israelis who are citizens are a second-class citizen in Israel, no matter what. They're the ones that, you know, when they go to an airport or they have to wait more in line than others, than the Jewish people, etc., etc. And we need to understand something here. First of all, we need to think why Israel was created. Israel was created on one and only purpose: to let the Elohim allow the Jews to come from the north, the south, the east, and the west, to reunite there, to welcome the last Elohim messenger, who is Rael, the one that should build a third temple to welcome our Creator from space. Unfortunately, for so many years, for 50 years, we have been working, Rael sending letters, advising the Jewish people to build this third temple, because he's here not to save only the state of Israel, but to save the entire humanity. Now we're talking about the Palestinians here, and they seem to be the bad ones. And as I said, there is no bad and no good, and there are always two sides on every coin. Like a yin and yang, there is always black on white and white on black. Now, many Palestinians were thrown away from their houses where they were living in Yafo because of terror. They were afraid. They were afraid because when the war started in 1948, the Arab countries say, we're going to slaughter all the Jews and throw them into the sea. When Israel at that time and in 67 during the war have won war against many Arab countries who were close borders with them, the Arabs also were afraid that Israel will do the same thing, but it didn't happen. But Israel benefit from that, because when you see Palestine, what it was, the map of Palestine with so many Palestinians living there, and now slowly by slowly they have been accumulated, they have been thrown out of their houses, the land was stolen, their cattle were killed, even their olive trees were cut away. And unfortunately, nobody can achieve peace in that way. What I would like to say that Judaism and Zionism are two different things. Judaism, first of all, on the 6 commandments, the Jews are the only one who receive 10 commandments because they are special people for the Elohim. And they have a special role for humanity to show the light and the way to other civilizations and to the others. And this is why we are expelled all over the world. Now, what's important here is, as a Jew, in the 6th commandment, we have one of the most important one: you shall not kill. Why we shall not kill? And this is revealed by the prophet Rael, that if you kill, and in the messages of the Elohim, it's written, if you kill one single person, it's like killing the entire humanity. Because we are all one, we all are inside the other, and we are all united by the link of the Elohim. And this is what's most important, to achieve that as a Jews, we have the obligation, we are the only religion that have the obligation not to kill and love our neighbors like our own. Unfortunately, this is not the example that we're giving. Now, we can blame the Palestinians, we can blame this, we can blame that. The two sides are to blame, and I think the ones that are more to blame are the Israelis because of their behavior. I'm not talking about the Israelis in general. I'm talking about the governments that were established in Israel to conquer the land and somehow steal their houses, steal the land, settle there, and throw them out. And this is not human. And as I say, no matter if you are Jewish, if you are Israeli, if you are Palestinian, no matter what you are, as a human being, this is not the right way to be or to behave. Now we are in these circumstances. This is why most of the religious people from Neturei Karta, which is the most religious cult of the Jewish tradition, are against the state of Israel. First of all, because they shouldn't be the state of Israel until the Messiah will come. He's already among us. The Israeli government, they don't want to give that land to build the embassy, which is a third temple, to welcome the Elohim. For this reason, since 2015, the Elohim have drawn their protection upon Israel, which means the embassy will not be built in Israel, but will be built in Palestine. Now, what could happen? As we know history, there were many diasporas for the Jewish people every time they sent prophets and nobody listened. And this is once again, it's happening the same thing. And we're going to have a problem because, unfortunately, Israel will have to leave another diaspora. And in this message, the Elohim gave to Rael on December, in 2015, I think it was in August, it's written that all Israelis, and especially all Raelians, should leave Israel. What's going to happen? We don't know. What is most important is that as human beings, let's not forget to be humans before everything. And what's also most important is that we should love our neighbors like our own. And the only salvation for the state of Israel today, and the reason why they have conquered their country again, they have returned, it was because of this building of the third temple. Now, let's not only blame Israel, because there were also attempts and murders on one side, and let's not blame also the Palestinians, because what I believe is that the Palestinians were okay, and then the Hamas entered Gaza, and they killed all those who were from many Palestinians that were from the opposition of the Hamas. Unfortunately,
Sorry, Leon, if you don't mind, we arrive at a turning point now. So maybe I propose is that we go back to the history, and then I would like to comment on a video that we have prepared, if you don't mind, so that we will be able to continue on all the different proposals that we have made. Okay?
Okay, go ahead.
The Israel in the Bible is not the same Israel as today. And I know what you're thinking, and you're already jumping into conclusions, but hear me out. People are over here fighting and debating over a misunderstanding of what Israel actually means. They think that the modern Israel is the same as the Israel God promised in the Bible. It's not. In the Bible, Israel means two things. First, Israel was a person. In Genesis 32, Jacob wrestled with God, literally fought him all night long. And after that, God changed his name to Israel, which means he struggles with God. Second, Israel became a nation. Jacob's 12 sons became the 12 tribes of Israel, God's chosen people. But hear this out, they were not chosen because of their land. They were chosen because of God's promise. The nation of Israel existed under kings like David and Solomon. But guess what? They lost their land. They were exiled because they turned away from God. Fast forward today, Israel was founded in 1948 as a political state. But that's not the same as biblical Israel. It's not ruled by biblical law. Not everyone there is a descendant of the 12 tribes. And the land does not define God's people. Faith does. So when people think that defending modern-day Israel is the same as defending God's chosen people, no, you're missing the whole point of Scripture. God's Israel was never about land, but about a relationship with Him.
I think it's also interesting to see this history, like you have the religious history and you have the modern history of Israel. I would be happy to have your comments on that, and also maybe if you have an idea what is the Muslim point of view of the maybe this is where starts the conflict. What is the Muslim position about the creation of Israel? Maybe Kobi, you want to talk first about that, and then Leon?
First about the video. I don't know this person, but he seems to have read the Hebrew Bible very selectively. He is very wrong on his two main points. The Elohim, for those who are not Raelian, the Elohim is the original word in the Bible, not God, which is mistranslated. The Elohim did promise a very specific territory to the descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. To Abraham, Genesis 12:7. To your offspring I will give this land. Genesis 15. From the river of Egypt to the great river of the river Euphrates. Genesis 17. Etc., 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 then to Isaac, and then to Jacob. Many, many phrases, sentences in the Bible, the Elohim promised this specific land to the offspring of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And about his comment that some of the Jewish or most of the Jews are not the original from the Middle East, I read many, many articles about it. Comprehensive genetic studies show that Ashkenazi, Sephardic, and Mizrahi, the Eastern Jews, are genetically close to each other than they are to the non-Jewish population, among whom they lived for generations. All those Jewish groups share a common origin in the Middle East. So he was wrong on two points. About what the Muslims think about it, I don't know. As I remember, I'm not sure, I remember that in the Quran, Muhammad says that Israel belongs to the Jews. If there is someone who knows the Quran better, I would like to hear what you have to say about it.
As a Muslim, I can say that I was raised up in a Muslim family. My parents were Algerian, and my parents used to say that the Jew didn't have a country. So this is what I've been raised up in all my tradition. So I don't know if other Muslim people could say that, but I mean, I've always said, and to be honest, when I've been to Israel in 1994, and my father was alive at that time, and I was so happy to go to Israel, and actually I was welcomed by Shlomi Biton, who was Israeli representative at that time, and actually, we communicated with all the deputies of the Knesset because we wanted to present our project of building the embassy, and it was one of the many times when we asked Israelis to build the embassy in Jerusalem. And I said to my father, "Well, I'm going to Israel." And he said, "You mean you're going to Palestine?" And I said, "No, I'm going to Israel." And he said, "But Israeli people, they don't have a country, and they have always been nomad." And it was kind of a discussion between him and I. And at the end, he said, our conversation, he said, "Well, I would love to go to Palestine with you, but I'm not sure if I will be able, if they will be accepting me as a Muslim in Israel." So just I give you my personal testimony. Maybe Leon, if you want to comment on that, because also you were born in Morocco, so maybe you have an opinion on that.
Leon, Can I say 1 minute about a comment about what you said? Israel has no land.
Yes, actually, some I heard. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I also heard that some Jews also
Okay,
say that.
two sentences about that. It can be said that for approximately 1,400 years in ancient times, there were significant periods in which Jews had control or autonomy in the land of Israel, although not always continuously or completely independent. 1,400 years at least. Okay, sorry.
Leon, you want to comment on that?
Sure. First of all, regarding the Ashkenaz, I'm not sure, and I don't agree that
I will
the
send you the articles.
It's okay. You can have articles, but there are many comments that Ashkenazi Jews are descendants from Khazar, which are Cossacks, and these are the one that took over the land of Israel without being genetically Jews. And these are the ones that are today running the country of Israel, those who came from Poland, those who came from Germany, those who came from Ukraine, those who came from all the Eastern countries after the Holocaust, after the Shoah, and they slowly, they invaded the land of Israel. Because as a Jew, I was born in Morocco, never had problems with any Muslims there. We were living and we were like, friends, brothers, going out together, no problem. Not with all, but with I had many friends, Muslims, that were at that time, and there was no religion. And you can see the king of Morocco, when the Germans were at the time of Hitler, the Second World War, Hitler asked the king of Morocco to land him all the Jews and to start making ovens to make concentration camps. And the king of Morocco, Mohammed V, say, here we have no Jews, no Muslims, no Christians, there are only Moroccans. That gives you an idea that not maybe in all the countries they had this problem, but the main problem started since the state of Israel was created, and then we start having problems in all the Middle East countries against Jews because they assimilate Jews and Israel, because we have to face the truth. All Jews worldwide are pro-Israel. No matter what crime they commit, no matter what stupidity they do, everybody is pro-Israel because they're Jews. So when there is a problem in Israel, the Jews, even outside of Israel, they pay the price. And Israelis, what's important to understand, Israelis that are the followers of the last prophet, who received the message from the Elohim, not only we should be humans, we should follow what exactly is the Jewish religion with all the messages the Elohim gave us, not to kill and not to be pro-Israel, because we cannot be pro-Israel when we see this catastrophe. We cannot be pro-Israel when you see this genocide. We cannot agree with that no matter what. And as Rael always said, those who feel more Israeli than Raelians, they should leave the movement, because it's not possible to agree with the crimes the Israeli government is perpetrating against other human beings, no matter if they're Israelis, no matter if they're Palestinians, no matter if they're Christian or if they're Jews. Because in Palestine, even in Gaza or in the West Bank, there are also Christians, and they're bombarded as well. So they're not part of the Hamas. And let me add something more. The Hamas, they didn't have an army at the beginning. the Hamas was built, and I believe it was built because of the crimes Israel perpetrated. Somehow, when you have your mother or your father or your brother or your sister or your wife or your kids that have been killed by bombs in a place where you are completely close, one side, the border of Egypt, which doesn't allow any Palestinians, another side, the border of Israel, a wall in between, which is a prison, an open field, and they get bombarded there. That's all. And the problem is that when you have lost some member of your family, especially in Muslim religion, you cry and claim for revenge. So what happened is that these people that have no hope, not for them, not their family, not for their families, not for those who have been killed and all their family have been maybe killed, or some members of their family have been killed, so they join Hamas for revenge. And this is the problem. And we can take it the way we want. That's unacceptable to behave like that as a Jews, as those who have received the 10 Commandments, which the 6th commandment is not to kill.
So it is so true. Actually, we are in a situation of occupation and a resistance of the Palestinian population, and the Hamas does not. I mean, actually, I've seen that now a lot of population, Palestinian population is in opposition with the Hamas authority at the moment, because they see that they are facing major problems, and they want also the hostage to be released. It's okay. Like about the displaced of the population since 8th of October 2023, and you see like more than 2.2 million people have been forced to leave their homes, and this is continuing because now, as their homes have been bombarded, they cannot go back to their house. Actually, I will be showing you another slide where we'll be able to see what is the government position about the Israeli position. Unfortunately, we don't have a Palestinian position, but feel free to comment and to add any information that you may have on that. But we're talking about an occupation, but this is what the government is saying about the Palestinians. So Vital, can you present the slide 5, please?
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's approach to Palestinians. Beat them up, not once but repeatedly, beat them up so it hurts so badly, until it's unbearable. Israeli Deputy Defense Minister Rabbi Eli Ben-Dayan Palestinians are beasts, they are not human.
Israeli Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman on Israel's Arab minority. Those who are against there's nothing to be done, we need to pick up an axe and cut off his head.
Israeli Minister of Culture Miri Regev, I am happy to be a fascist. Israeli Minister of Justice Ayelet Sheikh on Palestinians. They should go, as should the physical homes in which they raised the snakes. Otherwise, more little snakes will be raised there.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Israel's Arab neighbors. We must defend ourselves against the wild beasts. Former Israeli Defense Minister Moshe Yaalon. The Palestinian threat harbors cancer-like attributes that have to be severed. There are all kinds of solutions to cancer. Some say it's necessary to amputate organs, but at the moment I am applying chemotherapy. Former Israeli Deputy Prime Minister Eli Yishai urges army to send Gaza back to the Middle Ages.
We need to understand that these people are not anymore, besides Netanyahu and probably some of them, they're not in the government anymore. But we have to understand there is a coalition in Israel supporting Netanyahu, and Netanyahu have to bend to what they want. Otherwise, they will withdraw from the coalition and the government will follow. And because he wants to keep his position, the extremist Jews that are part of these parties force him to go to war, force him to go. Also, when it was the ceasefire recently, he went back again because the members of his coalition threatened him. Either he will go and continue to massacre Palestinians, or they will withdraw from the coalition and the government will follow. And just to keep his position, he does whatever they want. Is that okay, Kobi?
Yes, absolutely. But I want to have a short comment. Of course, I'm not. I don't agree with any of those comments of those criminal politicians. But in Hebrew, there is a proverb that says, "Do not judge someone by their anger and grief." I'm pretty sure most of you haven't been exposed to the horrific footage from the 7th of October, of the murders, the brutal rapes, the killing of entire families in cold blood, children with their parents, etc. The politician who spoke here, none of whom I identify with, spoke from the bottom of their heart about what they experienced when they watched the full video, and it burned into their mind forever. The footage was taken from Hamas GoPro cameras. They filmed everything.
Thank you, Kobi. It's true that now we arrive we're still in the state of fear on both sides and anger on both sides. This is why the Raelian movement come with the solution of a peace solution that is actually a solution that is proposed by many politicians. But how can we overcome that fear, and how can we come with a solution? Because we discover also that there is a lot of anger on actually resignment in both sides, but not both not the two parts have the same power, because we know that now the Palestinians are living a kind of genocide because all the doors are closed, that they cannot escape from nowhere. So the situation is mainly difficult, and they find themselves in a how would we say, like a resistance position. And to talk about mainly about that, we have other slides that I would like to introduce you.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Before that, I would like to comment on the October 7th.
Okay.
This happened, it was the day of Raelian celebration in Israel. And Kobi told me we didn't have any transmission because we're at war. At war, I didn't know about it. So I opened the television and saw what happened there. And immediately, Kobi, I was with him on the phone, over the phone, and we talked. And he told me the Israelis from the kibbutz were calling the army for 6 hours. They were calling the police. And the army, the only response they got is that we don't have any orders to come and help you. This is what Kobi told me while I was in touch with him almost 3-4 times during that day. For those who lived in Israel, this border is impenetrable. Egyptians, over a year ago, before that, have warned the Israelis that something was preparing to invade and enter Israel and make a massacre. The United States knew also that this happened, and they informed Israel a year before. Many of those people who are soldiers and have been in the front line listening to who's coming and checking in that border, which is, there is a wall, there is even 7 meters under it with a wall, and they have sonars, they have radars, they have everything. Even those who are the soldiers in the army, they know even if a bird fly 500 meters from there, they know it. So nobody can enter. What I believe, and that's my own conviction since this happened, is that Israel let them in to find an excuse through the world to enter Gaza and erase everything, bombard everything, kill as many as they want. Not only people from the Hamas, but people from also Palestinian people who were not in the Hamas. What we also need to understand that some Israelis have made a statement mentioning that those who were shooting even in the kibbutz at Israelis, they were speaking Hebrew. So we have here on one of our Elohim Links, which Rael give us some information.
Vital, sorry to interrupt you, Léon. Actually, you're talking about the Elohim Links. Vital, can you show? Est-ce que tu peux
Please.
montrer the slide 7? Slide 7.
And I will comment on that.
Yes, please.
We don't see anything.
So this is an Elohim Links that has been published in 2015 by Rael, announcing. Maybe if you want to comment on that, Léon.
Yes, well, this is an Elohim link saying that some attempts, that some terrorist attacks that were made in Israel were perpetrated by the government of Israel to put that on the Palestinian fault, on the Palestinian side. And I don't blame him for that, because it's a strict truth. You have attempts, even in France it happened, and even in other countries it's happening, that to blame someone, we had the example of September 11 with the Twin Towers, that they collapsed with an airplane, just with aluminum, they entered steel beams, and not even the wings of the airplane broke. Nobody can understand that. Normally, even engineers, they know it's impossible. Like Israelis know that it's impossible to enter that border without knowing. So what happened there, it's just another circumstances or other excuses to do this war, to invade Gaza. And this is what we are doing this synagogue because, as you know, President Trump, he wants to make a beautiful Riviera with the Trump Hotel there, and very nice. But at what cost? At the cost of human lives? At the cost of a genocide? On what? To build that on what? On the blood of the Palestinian people?
Would you like to comment on the Hannibal Directive, Léon?
Yes, please. Go ahead. Well, this is a former Israeli minister, another crazy criminal, who was, before the invasion of Gaza, was mentioning we're gonna cut all electricity, we're gonna cut food, we're gonna cut gas, we're gonna cut everything, that nobody will get anything, and people were starving there. And what Hannibal Directive, he mentioned in the television that Israeli soldiers or civilian even have been killing them to prevent it. So it's mean what I just said a couple of minutes ago, that there were some Israelis inside the kibbutz shooting at other Israelis to put this on the Palestinian shoulders. And this was mentioned by this person during a television show, right, Kobi?
Yes.
No. So you can see that this was a plot. It was prevented and already figured out to give them the opportunity to war the world. Oh, they have entered and they hurt us. And now it's up to us to defend ourselves. Like, you know, we all know and agree that 6 million people, Jews, have been killed during the Shoah, which is the Holocaust. But what we need to know now is that actually, after 80 years, they still claiming we are the poor people that were massacred by the Germans. The Germans are paying the price for this to every Israeli or everyone left from the Holocaust. And what will be great, if it's the peace solution, maybe you can remove this slide and put the next one, please.
Actually, here we have the position of the government, and I think it would be very interesting to have the population point of view, just to see how the population react. And actually, Leon, you have lived in Israel, and also Kobi. It could be good to maybe I show you it's a report that has been made by Envoyé Spécial, which is an investigation journalist, who made a report about like the population. What do the population think about Gaza and Palestine, and what is their reaction, if you're okay with that?
In early February, Donald Trump provoked a global tallet by claiming that it wanted to transform the Gaza Strip in the Middle East Riviera. These are his own words. The American president even posted yesterday on social networks this video hallucinating made entirely in artificial intelligence. It shows Gaza, Dubai version, or Miami, while the enclave is today a field of ruins. For some Israeli settlers, among them the fairest, he did not do than stating the obvious. There are indeed several of them, thousands wanting to settle in the Strip of Gaza without the Palestinians. It shows Gaza, Dubai version, or Miami, while the enclave is today a field of ruin. By the way, from Erez to be exact.
Yes, Elise. Behind this wall is Gaza. Even if we see an Israeli flag there, on the other side it is Gaza. And thousands of settlers in Israel are only waiting for one thing, that is to cross this wall, to live there, but without the Palestinians.
Do you want to walk on the ground? But you'll get dirty. Wait, I'll take you. There, it'll be cleaner.
2 kilometers from Gaza, this is the family outing for this father Israeli and his children. It only takes €1 to observe the destruction on the other side.
I can see very clearly. I see Gaza, I see many buildings completely destroyed, but, unfortunately, some are still standing. There's still work to be done.
Did you say unfortunately?
Yes, unfortunately, because there are buildings that haven't been destroyed yet.
Hamoz is an Israeli settler, member of a small, far-right, minority, and radical organization.
Want to look? Go ahead. Everything is destroyed, but that's good, because they no longer have a place to live. They killed us, so should we too?
What's that sound?
That's a bombing in Gaza.
Don't you feel sad seeing these destroyed houses?
No.
Why?
They killed us, we should kill them too. But we don't, so at least we destroy their homes.
But who taught you that?
It's me and my father. Come on, leave it, leave it. That's not nice. Do you see Gaza? Do you see Gaza?
Through these binoculars, Hamoz sees only ruins in Gaza. He also foresees an opportunity, that of establishing oneself there.
What I see is the promised land of Israel. I see it's in a deplorable state today. And I see above all what we have to do it today. We're going to make it a beautiful place.
But you see the destruction too, right?
Yes, I see the destruction, of course. But everything must be demolished to rebuild. But for us, of course, for the Jews.
Since the terrorist attack of October 7th, these settlers are camping in front of Gaza regularly. What does it say on the hood? That means Gaza is, to us, forever. The Gaza Strip must return to Israel. It belonged, it belongs, and it will belong forever.
You drove with this sticker to come? You are not afraid to drive like that?
None. No, afraid of what? Of whom?
The Palestinians, for example?
Sorry, but this is our country. I must be afraid of drive in my country? None. Come on, let's put our things down.
Who said this was your land?
History tells us so. God told us. All our ancestors who lived in Israel, they promised that Israel would return to us.
You don't think that set up a camp opposite Gaza can be perceived as a provocation?
If people think it's a provocation, that's their problem.
Do you mind? None. But there are civilian deaths on the other side. What do you think about it?
How do you feel about it?
Let's count.
What if we counted, rather the dead in Israel? Why did they die?
Like the rest of the group, this mother of a family does not don't plead for peace, but demands the recovery, bombings on Gaza, an ideology that she passes on to his children. And you, what are you? Think about the situation. Do you understand what's going on here?
We are here to make them cancel the truce, and that we do not submit to Hamas.
And do you feel pain when there is suffering on the other side?
Just for the Jews.
Building a Riviera on the ruins of Gaza, as Donald Trump proposes. A real estate agency Israeli already sees itself there, with a program of construction already ready.
A house by the river. The sea is no longer a dream. At the agency, some of our teams have started studies for regional planning, the evacuation of debris and the eviction of squatters.
The company specializes in construction sites in the West Bank.
Before, after.
The agency is located besides, she too, in occupied Palestinian territory. In a Jewish colony that has completely barricaded. We have an appointment with the owner of the place.
Here are our advertisements. And that's the one that makes the most noise. It was at the beginning of the war. We didn't really know how things were going to change. There are all kinds of debates about the fact that we are going perhaps retake Gaza. In Israel, people are divided on the subject. We, as real estate developers, we proposed this idea which consists of conquering Gaza and to settle there.
This advertisement is not just a project, for now. But the real estate developer is ready. If his government gives him the green light, he has already redrawn the territory.
Thank you. Maybe Kobi, as you live in Israel, would you like to comment? Maybe are you in contact with the Palestinian people? I don't know if you want.
Yes, I'm in contact with some Arab Israeli. But first, those people are not representing the population in Israel.
Yes, of course.
They are a delusional minority who even in Netanyahu Likud party oppose those actions. So no one in Israel taking them too seriously. I have some Arab friend who worked with me from time to time. Unfortunately, one of them told me then there will never be peace, never. And I told him the Rael proposal. You don't think so? It will never be peace. But I hope he is here because he promised me to come. I don't see him here, but maybe he's here. I hope he will say something if he is here.
Yes,
We
there will be there
Kobi.
will be question and answers in the second part of the event, so you'll be able to maybe to raise questions if you
Okay.
want. Thank you. Would you like to add something, or maybe Leo?
Yes. Well, Kobi is right. He say not many Israelis are thinking the same way. But, you know, according to me, there is minimum between 60 to 70% of the Israeli population that think that way. The settlements are not only today. The settlements have started a long ago. We had even Raelians living in Palestinian settlements. What happened? These people bring caravans, they take houses, they expel people even at night with the help of the army. They settle there with caravans, with tents, and then slowly the government build them houses. So they go and live there, and the Palestinians are out. And as you say, not only they were expelled since we started in October last year, this war, this stupid war and crazy war, but these settlements have started since the beginning of Israel. This is why the kibbutz were made at the beginning, to make the borders. And then progress and progress and progress and progress. The only way, like, you know, how many millions of Palestinians are in Lebanon? How many millions of Palestinians are in Jordan? Jordan, it's almost with Palestinians. Palestinians who were slowly expelled from the land of Israel, from Palestine, where they used to live. Unfortunately, this, as Kobi say, this is not, it will never be peace. But I am sure it will be peace because, you know, Israel, unfortunately, will lose their land once again. And
So I want to...
this land will be conquered once again by the Palestinians, as Rael said, and the Elohim said also, that the third temple will be built close to Jerusalem, but not under the Israeli state or under the Israeli government. And this is the reason why we are trying, and I have been sending letters that we're going to see soon, that were sent to all Palestinian delegations and embassies worldwide to welcome, to get the land and welcome the third temple, which is the Elohim embassy in Gaza, in order to have this land, and it will be peace. It will be peace because maybe not the Israeli government will make peace, but the main problem of the Middle East, which is Jerusalem, which is supposed to be the land of peace, the city of peace, it's not. It's a center of fire. And if there is war in the Middle East, there is war all over the world. The day will stop the war in the Middle East, with which Israel and the Jerusalem should be the capital of the world.
Kobi, would you like to comment on that?
Yes. Of course, I am against all the settlements in the Sumeria, Judah and Sumeria. But the Supreme Court in Israel never let those settlers to build settlements on private land. In the cases that they build it on private land, the Supreme Court gave an order to destroy their houses. And it's happened. All the settlements are built on land that belonged to the government, to the Jordan government.
Kobi.
Thank you. Sorry, Leon. So we've been talking about all the difficulties and the opposition that are raised up. I think now it's time to talk about maybe the solution that we are proposing. And you were talking about your letter, that the letter that you have sent to the
Excuse me, Nora.
organization.
Before I would like to make a little comment on what Kobi says, and then we will proceed with the letter and the rest.
Okay.
What we need to understand is even if the Supreme Court asks to remove these settlements, act to destroy this settlement, it's not done, Kobi. It's not done because the settlers have the support of the army, and they are there to protect them. And they are there to shoot at those who were expelled. And there are those who cut their olive trees and killed their cattle as well. And you know that. Anyways, unfortunately, what the Supreme Court said is not what the Israeli government, which ran the army, said. And one more sentence before continuing is that in the Elohim messages, it is always given as a commandment. If the Elohim or even Rael ask us to do something against our consciousness, we shouldn't do it. Because the one that gives the order and the one that pull the trigger, they have the same responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. So actually, maybe we can show Vital the slide. Oh no, sorry, it's the slide 10 with our proposal as a Raelian movement. This is one of the solutions, I mean, the solution actually that we propose. And Vital, if you can maybe introduce the slide 11, which is the letter that Leon has sent to the Palestinian organizations.
Let's try again.
Okay, good.
Well, this is the letter that I have sent to all the Palestinian organizations worldwide, Palestinian embassies and delegations from all over the world. There were, I think, 200 and something. We have sent them via email and via letters with the file of the embassy, which Daniel Turcotte, a good friend of mine, who is doing an exceptional work for this as a director of this embassy project with his team, have presented, and we're sending that at the same time. Thank you. You can see the letter. Maybe it will be published certainly somewhere.
I think it will be published maybe on rael.org.
It is published. It is published.
Okay. Kobi, would you like to add something?
I do not doubt that the solution that Rael proposed, one equal state for Israelis and Palestinians, is the best. How do we get there? I have no idea. I have trouble even imagining the path to achieving this wonderful goal. We are lucky that Rael taught us to dream very big dreams, even impossible dreams. Israel was an impossible dream for the Jews for more than 2,000 years. And when enough people dreamed this dream, it became reality. And I hope that the dream of one state for both people who are actually part of the same great family of the sons of our father, Abraham, would come.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kobi.
Actually, this is the letter that you have proposed, but it is part also of the great plan of Maitreya Rael, the peace plan of Rael. We should maybe show the slide 12.
This is the peace proposal. This is the only solution for peace in the Middle East. First of all, to give the right of return to all those who were born there, because it's their land as much as the Jewish land. It is a Palestinian land, and these are Palestinian rights to come back to their land where they used to live, where their ancestors used to live. And besides that, as Rael mentioned, there should be a place in Jerusalem where all the Jews should come and ask forgiveness for the first Palestinian that was killed. Because if the first was not killed, the others will not be killed. It's like Israel told us as well, if during the Shoah, the Holocaust, the first Jew was not killed, there will not be 6 million either. And the solution also will be not only to welcome back all the Palestinians, but to give them compensation like the Germans did and still doing until now to all the Jews who were killed during the Holocaust. And this is something that could bring peace, to welcome them back, to ask forgiveness for all these criminal leaders of government that have incited people and population to war by brainwashing them. But as I said, the one that pulled the trigger is as responsible as the one that gave the order. If all soldiers say today, I'm not going there, and they stop the army, is not the prime minister and his stupid government that they're going to go there to fight. So welcome back the Palestinians, give them a compensation, ask for forgiveness, and make one state solution to be and live together like brothers, because no matter what, we are the sons of the same father, Abraham.
Yes. Can you show the slide 14, Vital, please? So this is interesting because we have asked to ChatGPT, so intelligent design, what is the benefit to Gaza, Israel, and Palestine of building an embassy to welcome extraterrestrials? And the answers are so interesting.
It's a very interesting solution that we have asked the ChatGPT if what will be to build an embassy from extraterrestrials in Gaza and on Palestine, and this is what we got as an answer, which is very encouraging.
at this point, I think we could show the slide 16, which is the what Metroya says about Jerusalem. Maybe it's because there is a lot of people. Yes, good.
Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, which means, it's funny, but the city of peace. That's the meaning of Yerushalayim. I know it looks completely crazy with what's happening now, but Yerushalayim is a city of peace. And it's still possible with very little change. It's still possible that the embassy will be built near Jerusalem. I still hope for that. Near Jerusalem, but not in Israel. Because Israel is betraying what is Jewish teaching, beautiful, the most beautiful religion, which is you should not kill. You should not kill. That's Yerushalayim, the city of peace. We have to remind people living in this area that they are betraying the Jewish tradition.
This is, I would like to comment on that because it's very, very special what Rael is telling us, because he's the light, the way, and the only way to solutions, not only for Israel, but to humanity and for peace especially. What's important here to understand is that in any religion, they have no obligations. In the Jewish religion, they have the obligation, according to the law of Moses, according to the Ten Commandments, to follow certain rules of life and to show the entire world the way to live, to be the examples, to be the lights for humanity. And what's happening there, it's not light, it's darkness. But let's hope for the best. And let's hope this embassy and this third temple will be built and peace will come between the two children of Abraham, because we are brothers no matter what.
It's true
One comment.
Sorry. Yes,
One
Kobi.
comment.
Yes.
Basically, it's all about education. And a short story about it. I have a friend, an Arab friend, Palestinian. He has a stand in the souk of Tel Aviv. He sells pickles. And one day he told me that he was living near Shechem in the Judea and Samaria. His father was cooperating with the Israeli authorities. So he had to run away, all his family, to Israel. He was a small child. He was 8 years old. And first thing he told me he did, he was looking on the back of the Jewish people, and he astonished to see that they don't have tails. That's what he has been taught in the kindergarten, in school, that the Jewish are not human. They are monkeys. They have tails. So it's all about education from both sides.
Kobi, allow me to tell you that this is not coming from Arabs or from Palestinians or from any Muslims. This was coming since the Inquisition at the time of Isabel the Catholic in Spain and in Portugal. Because in Portugal, they used to call them marranos, the Jews. And marranos are monkeys which have a tail. All the monkeys have a tail, but they used to call the Jews marranos. So this is not coming, it's nothing new, and it's not coming from Arabs or from Muslims. It's coming from way before at that time.
Okay. But that's what they are teaching.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is what they have been teaching. And in Israel also, since you were in the kindergarten, they were teaching, oh, they have killed us in the Holocaust, the Germans, blah, 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 blah. Oh, the Arabs wanted to kill us in 48. So we need to defend our country. So it's brainwash on both sides.
Absolutely.
And we should, as Raelians, and I am sure you're doing an excellent work in Israel, because you're in the middle of the fire. On the Israeli side, you cannot say to any Israeli, this is wrong. And on the other side, you cannot say, oh, because you're going to look bad. So you are like in the middle between the wood, the tree, and the course of the tree. And this, I understand that, but as Raelian, we should show the light, which the Jewish people, who should be, as I said, the children that have been elected as being the descendants of the Elohim, the country that is the elected people. And today, they have lost that right. As Raelians today, we are the chosen people. They're not anymore the people of Israel and the Jewish people because of their behavior.
Thank you, Leon. It's true that it is a question of education and also to be able to raise questions and to understanding. We arrive at the moment of question and answers, and the chat will be open for those who have questions. So our two main speakers are here to answer to any of your questions that you may have. So the chat is open.
I'd like just to add something. We have invited Palestinian people, even in France, in Switzerland, and even in Canada, in Ottawa, where they have a good delegation, but they didn't want to join us. Well, I wanted to have a balance between the Israelis and Palestinians and see who will, at the end, take each other in the arms and tell him, I love you, my brother.
Unfortunately, they were not available for this event. Actually, it's interesting because it's also a time of Eid al-Fitr. So maybe they have also their own activities in there, and it's a time of peace and reconciliation.
There is a nice question here from Gilles. Could you tell more about the vision of the Raelians on the concept of chosen people and the Holy Land? Well, as I mentioned, those who were the chosen people who don't recognize the Elohim have lost their to be chosen ones. The chosen ones today are the ones that recognize the Elohim, who are the Raelians. And all those who will recognize the Elohim are chosen people because they recognize not as a God, not by belief, but by understanding, by science, but consciousness, but raising our consciousness to understand instead of keep believing.
There is another question. In your opinion, what is the difference between Jew and Hebrew?
Oh, at the beginning, there were no religion. They were the Hebrews when they come out of Egypt. At the time, they were in those lands and they were all over. They were the Hebrews. Then
the Sumerian Hebrew.
The Sumerian,
Sumerian Hebrew, yes.
The Sumerian, which means they come from Sumer, which is Iraq now, right, Kobi?
Yes, yes.
Iraq
and Syria. Abraham came from Syria, north of Syria.
No,
very close to Iraq.
Well, Ur Kasdim, which
yes.
Abraham was, and then he came from there, and today what some people talk about the Anunnaki and all that, and the Sumerian texts are the ones that were at that time a very advanced civilization that knew already about all the planetary system, the planets, etc., etc. But anyways, we're not talking about that today. Just to open a small parenthesis and mention that these people had a knowledge already, a knowledge that was coming from the Elohim.
Just if you mentioned the Anunnaki, just to let you know, the Anunnaki, the translation of the word Anunnaki is those who came from sky to earth.
It's like the Elohim in ancient Hebrew,
Of course,
those who come from the skies.
of course.
So we proceed, Nora, we have something else? No? I propose that we all close our eyes for a couple of seconds, and in silence, we're going to send love and peace, not only in the Middle East region, not only in Israel and Palestine, but all over the world, to everyone, without distinctions of sex, race, or religion, or color of skin. Imagine anyone you want, people you don't even know. And by closing your eyes, please, let's send love and peace into this planet. Let's take just 1 minute, please. Thank you. Embrace planet Earth. Take the planet in your arms with all its contents. Humans, animals, plants, trees, which are all part of ourselves. And we are part of everything surrounding us. Thank you. We have arrived at the end of this beautiful synagogue, and let's everyone to be in peace and love with this beautiful meditation. Thank you all for attending. Thank you, Kobi, for being with us, and all the team who have been working very hard. Thank you, Nora, Mariela, and all her team, translators, technical team, and all of you who made a success out of this synagogue by your presence. And just meditate even 1 minute a day for peace. Maybe you can make the difference.
And thank you, Leon, for organizing all this.
Thank you, Kobi, and thank you, Leon.
I know you're doing a great job in Israel, which is very hard.